evening, everyone. I'm Jerry Randall. I'm the founder and CEO of Venture Life. Happy to come and talk to you this evening. I've got with me my colleague, Adrian Crockett, who's the CFO, who'll be around afterwards because this will be a lightning presentation, so if there's any questions you've got afterwards. You'll all be delighted to know that we're a healthcare business and we're targeting the over 50s. So I'm sure lots of you put your hands up, although we look far too young to be over 50. Our business model is very simple. We acquire or develop innovative products backed by clinical data that will be sold in pharmacies around the world. We have over 80 partners around the world. We sell in over 40 countries. We develop and manufacture our own products in our factory in Italy, near Lake Como, if anyone wants to visit. It's a beautiful place. We came to the AIM market in 2014. We've done 3 acquisitions as a business, and we're now in a phase where our operational gearing is really kicking in. So we're starting to have a good drop through of gross margin to the bottom line, and you'll see in the slides I show you that that's starting to deliver into profitability. So I'm going to skip these first 2 slides. I'll come back to them, but we're, as I say, an international group. We've got a head office and a partnering office based in Bracknell, which is near Reading. And then we have a factory based in Italy. It's about 90 people in the business, 15 in the UK, the balance are in Italy, 40 in production. And we produce about 15 million units of product out of that factory each year. And that's generally a small pot from 2 ml up to 1 litre, liquids, creams and gels, registered as medical devices, cosmetics or food supplements. We don't manufacture or develop drug products. You're going to hear from a company later who does that. So we have partners in the countries. How we run our business is we don't have our own sales force. We have partnering people. But what we will do is partner with pharmaceutical companies around the world who then have the infrastructure to both market the product and also to distribute the product around the country. So we have 1 product in the UK. Our partners in the UK are the ones you'll know: Boots, Superdrug and the pharmacy channel, Tesco's, Sainsbury's, Waitrose, Ocado, Amazon, and I'll talk about that product later. Around the world, we partner with big pharma companies. You would have heard of people like Hikma, Valiant, Recordati, Sunstar. They're all partners of ours. And even some of you may know Alliance Pharma, a Chippenham-based company here. We develop and manufacture a lot of products for them. This is the team that run the business. Myself and Sharon founded the business. Sharon's background is marketing. My background was Sinclair Pharma. You'll know that business, I suspect. I founded that in 2000, grew it up to about 30 million turnover. I grew that with a business partner of mine. He retired in 2009, so that's when I left and I started up Venture Life. And I was also executive chairman of Silence Therapeutics for a number of years that you may know. Sharon's background's marketing. She worked with us at Sinclair. John Luca, the guy with the tan, he runs the Italian business. The factory we have there, I've worked with that factory since 2000. It develops products that are sold around the world. The site is inspected by the FDA. Chinese FDA, we sell products in the Middle East, Far East, etc. John Luca runs that business, and Adrian, as I say, our CFO, joined us this year. The market opportunity is what's facing all of us sooner or later. The bottom left, you'll see the number of people over 60, the projection by the time we get to 2050. It's going to increase significantly. That's because we've got better education, better diet, better lifestyle. Problem is that puts a massive healthcare burden on every country in one way, shape or form. So there's a greater emphasis on self-medication, self-diagnosis, taking personal responsibility for your own healthcare. You can see on the right-hand side here, there's some data on the growth of this self-care market. In the more developed countries where it's been around a bit longer, it's less, but also they're bigger markets, so the numbers are bigger, and in less developed countries, or less developed self-care markets. And that means we're all going to have to pay for more of our own healthcare. This is where we sell around the world. Everything in either orange or turquoise, we sell a product in that country. You'll see it's mainly Central, Southern Africa, a couple of Asian countries. Otherwise, all the orange and the turquoise, we are selling products. Some of the deals we've done this year, we have a product called Benecol. Some of you may know it. It's sold as a functional food in the supermarkets. We have developed a food supplement form, which is in tablets, small sachets, not on sale in the UK yet, but that's starting to sell in a number of countries. Ultradex is an oral care product. You may have seen that in the UK. I'll talk about that later. And MycoClear, one of our newly launched products, which is for nail fungal infections. And these are our key brands. These are brands we've developed ourselves, exception of Ultradex, which we acquired. Benecol, we licensed the trademark. But these are brands we've developed. We own the products. We undertake clinical data on them, which we own. Again, some of them are patented. We have products in the area of brain function and memory, NeuroAge. We have products in women's health, rosaceous and inflammatory skin disease, nail fungus, oral health, cholesterol, hair loss, proctors, and we have a number of brands underneath this. But the focus is to develop brands that are understandable, that you can buy yourself at the pharmacy, could be recommended, but products that you will choose yourself, pay for yourself, and go home and treat yourself. That's a model that works a lot more widely around the world than it does in the UK. But you'll see, if you look at the NHS website, they're telling everybody now, don't go to the GP first, ring 111 or go to the pharmacist before you go to the doctor. And that model is much more widely known in the rest of the world. So that's a bit about the company. I'm going to come back here just to give you the headlines. We reported our half-year results in June. Our full year end is December. We had revenues increased 28% to nearly 8 million. EBITDA up to 0.3 million from last year. We invested heavily in one of our products in the first half, so it gives a bit of a like-for-like disparity. Cash at the end of June, 1.3 million. You can see our revenues growing through the previous three halves and the current half, and also our EBITDA. And that's the operational leverage I spoke about, that we're now starting to get growing revenues, dropping gross margin through to our bottom line, and I'll talk a bit more about that. We partner products on a long-term basis, tends to be 10 years in a specific territory for a specific product, and the partner has an exclusive right to sell that product. We patent some of our products, we undertake clinical studies. This is a summary of the P&L. As I said at the start, you will get a copy of this presentation, but you can see we've grown quite well from last year. The market's expecting around 16.5 million of revenue from us this year, and EBITDA profit in excess of £1 million. So, going back to the script, a bit more detail on the revenue. So this is a waterfall slide going from the first half of 2016, showing how it's changed into the first half of 2017. You'll see there's a grey and an orange colouring on the right-hand pie chart. So we have products that we sell under our own brands that we own and have those names, and that was the portfolio I showed you earlier. We also manufacture a lot of products for other companies that they sell under their own brand name. So Alliance Pharma is a great example. If any of you know Alliance, they'll have Atopiclair, Aloclair, a number of products. We make those products and they're sold under the Alliance brand. That's a historic part of the business from Italy, because that's a much older, longer part. The new branded products we've developed over the last 2 or 3 years, they're faster growing, higher margin, and that's where our focus and our marketing expenditure is going. As I mentioned earlier, we have an operational leverage opportunity where our costs are relatively fixed, even in the factory, and we're running around 60% capacity. So as we increase revenues, which will be from partnering out, more licensing, developing more products, acquiring more products, the majority of that gross margin will fall through to the bottom line. And you can see, even as a percentage of revenues, our overheads are getting lower and lower. And they will probably bottom out at about 25% when we reach 20 to 25 million pounds of revenue. A slide explaining the changes in our EBITDA, again, compared to the last period. We invested heavily in the Venture Life brands in the UK, a brand called Ultradex. I'll talk about that later. You can see we spent nearly 400,000 in UK sales support costs. That is the only territory in the world where we spend marketing money. Every other territory, we manufacture the product to order for the partner. They take it away. Marketing costs are all their responsibility. Marketing, physical distribution, any of those costs in market. In the UK, because we sell direct to the retailers like Boots, Tesco's, etc., we're required to support that. We get a higher revenue and a higher margin, but we have to put money into marketing. The UK is quite a unique pharmacy model. There's 2 or 3 large chains who dominate. So everywhere else in the world, we don't spend any money on marketing. Cash flow, we opened the first half at the end of December with 2 million of cash. We finished with 1.3 million of cash. And that's really been taken up by working capital as we've invested and grown. The reality is we're sitting at about 1.5 million now, and that's probably where we'll finish the end of the year. But we don't need to raise money from the market to operate where we'll start generating cash from next year. So let me tell you about the commercial side of the business. I've told you some of it. In the Venture Life brands, that 22% you saw in the pie chart, that'll be about a 30-70 split by the end of the year, because there's a lot more business coming through in the second half. Internationally, we've signed a number of deals in a number of markets, those long-term deals. We sell a product in China, which I'll tell you about later, and that's growing very well. In the UK, we've managed to increase revenues in the UK by 9% in the first half, new distribution, new stores, and I'll explain that in a later slide. And even since the year end, we've done more deals and licensed the products into more markets. That is our day job. It is going out, finding partners, licensing the product, and getting them to launch the product into their territories. This is the product we sell in the UK. It's our biggest revenue product. That product this year will turn over about 3.5 million for us globally, about 3 of that in the UK, the balance internationally as we start to partner it. It's a fresh breath product. It's in the medicated mouthwash category. You will know general mouthwashes such as Listerine, Aquafresh, etc. They're the medicated category. They will cost £2.50 for half a litre. Our product retails at £8 for half a litre. But it's medicated, has a specific active backed by 9 clinical studies to remove and treat fresh breath with a 12-hour effect. and I'll talk about the competitors of that in a minute. We spent a lot of money advertising on the tubes, independent coffee shops. We did a promotion, advertising on the TV. If any of you watch Sky Atlantic or there's other wonderful channels, we advertise there as well. What this has done is it's increased the users through our website tenfold compared to a year ago. So we get 16,000 users through our website now, so we know what we're doing is right. This is a product we acquired 18 months ago. Revenues are in decline. A small private company, management lost their way, competitor come into the market, not sure what to do. And we've now reversed that trend. And I have a case study later to show you what we've done to reverse that trend. To give you an idea of how the product's positioned, Listerine, as I said, is a general mouthwash. Our competitors are CB12 and the Breath Company. CB12 is owned by Mylan. That's a 37 million euro product across Europe. We've got ambitions to challenge that. But what you can see here is we ran a promotion in the 4 weeks leading up to the 4th of July, and we ran a promotion with Boots, with advertising. A promotion is buy one, get a second half price, or get a third off. And as you can see in that period, we performed very well in terms of growth. And even over the 52-week period, this balloon on the right is the oral care sector data. So you can see, as well as outperforming our competitors, we've outperformed the sector in Boots. That's Boots data. The Breath Company also ran a promotion at the same time, so they had a similar spike in results. But again, if you look at the overall trend, we're outperforming those products. We're now focusing on new channels. We're going to go to the convenience channel. We've done a trial in the Moto service stations. We're hoping that we rolled out to all the service stations. Now, this is a nice little convenience spray we have, keep in your pocket, alternative to chewing gum or mints, etc. I say good clinical data behind this, recommended by dentists, and the product even was designed by dentists, the whole range. 39,000 convenience outlets, which we hope will give us some growth in revenues. Since buying the product, we've partnered it out in a number of territories already. So the UK, obviously, we were here already, but we've partnered in Scandinavia, in Spain, Portugal, Italy, and we've, in fact, since this presentation was given a few weeks ago, we partnered in France with a big multiple in France. So it'll be sold in Carrefour and all the other supermarkets in France. Another product we have, we put this up because it's China and people get excited about China, but it's a product, we signed a deal 3 years ago for a range of 14 anti-aging skincare products called Labati. Great heritage. They were developed from the sister of Jo Malone, Tracy Malone. She was a facialist. We developed her products, put them onto the market. We launched that product in China a year ago. I'm not allowed to put the scale down here because of commercial reasons, but I'm happy to tell you this is sell out of about €250,000 in China per month. And we know the August data, and it continued that trend. Great range, sold by a private skincare business in China, Jialan, privately owned, 2,000 stores in China, growing at nearly 500 stores per year. Pure skincare, it's like a super drug, but slightly classier. So we've invested in that. The products are out there, again, all made through our factory in Italy. That's growing very well. Other things we've done, we developed new products. MycoClear was a new product we developed last year for fungal nail infections. We've applied for a patent for that product. It's now in clinical studies. NeuroAge is a product, I really like NeuroAge, one of our earlier products. It's for cognitive function and short-term memory loss. I'm sure none of you have that, but if you have any friends who have it, you could recommend this product. And what it does, it contains 2 nucleosides, uridine and cytidine. And what they do is help the brain refresh itself and maintain the synaptic junctions. There was a study published in 2012 in the British Medical Journal. It was 7,000 civil servants. I apologise to any civil servants here in the room, but you might say they're all brain dead anyway. But what the study did was it studied them over a long period of time to see about the onset of cognitive decline. And what they found was from 45 to 50, there was a 6% decline in the man's cognitive function and a 3% decline in the woman's. No reasons why the difference, but that was the fact. So it's not just our grandparents who may be having difficulties, it's that age group. So we got a product there, 2,000 patients worth of clinical studies showing you take this product, you'll improve your cognitive function, your short-term memory loss. And with everybody who I ever give this product to, I would say to them, do an online test, a cognitive test, there are plenty around. Take the product for a month, try it again, I guarantee you'll have a better score. It is a good product. And that's on sale in 9 countries internationally, will be coming to the UK in due course. Proctor-Weezus hemorrhoids, I won't dwell on that, nobody wants to know about those. And rosacea is an inflammatory skin disease, affects 10% of the sort of 40 to 60-year-olds. It's a little bit like eczema, but it's immune response disease, but there aren't many specific products. We've developed a product that you can use long-term, because the other treatments are short-term powerful drugs that you can only use for 7 days. So that's a bit about our business, about what we sell, what we do. I mentioned earlier that a large part of our revenues are also own label brands. Exactly the same process: develop products, manufacture products, partner products out, but they're sold under customers' brands. And this is the Italian business that we acquired in 2014. As you see, it continues to grow. Big names there. We have customers like Menarini, Almirall. We develop products for them and manufacture products for them. But that's where all our regulatory, our procurement, logistics, quality is all based. We're running at about 60% capacity in that plant now. So that can take us up to maybe 24, 25 million of annual turnover. And on the same site, we can build another factory exactly the same size and keep going. So we've got plenty of capacity to grow. I've got 5 minutes left. I'm going to tell you about Ultradex, our products here in the UK. We acquired this business, and we've got a real focus on acquiring further businesses. We've got good supportive shareholders. We're looking for further acquisitions now. A product where we can fit it into our business, where we can manufacture it, where we think we can improve the marketing, and where we can internationalise that product. And that's what we did with Ultradex, and those are the 5 things we targeted. So what's happened? We bought Ultradex, where that orange line is, and since we bought it, we've halted the decline in sales, and we've now put it back into growth territory. That is all about proper marketing, proper engagement with the retail trade, the boots, etc. And we're now at the highest points of distribution that product's ever had. So at the moment, we've got 14,800 points of distribution. 1 point of distribution is 1 product in 1 store. So if you sell 1 product in 2,000 boot stores, that's 2,000 points of distribution. And the way we do that is developing new products, innovation. It's about doing promotions. It's about having relationships with the trade. And we're continuing to grow that, and that's not by any means the highest that it's going to be. You'll notice in there, for example, we're not in Lloyds. That's a big pharmacy chain we like to be in. We've partnered out internationally. There was £60,000 of international revenue when we bought this business. There'll be over 500,000 this year and probably double that next year. We're going to partner outside of Europe as well, and we hope to go to the US. We are already in Canada as well. Improving the marketing. I put this slide up because it'd be rude not to. Yeah. I mean, this is the marketing that the previous owners did at the top. It's Lads Magog marketing. It's not funny. And this was their response to when the main competitor, CB12, arrived on the market. Not particularly clever advertising. Might get a giggle, but it doesn't really help. The product used to also be called Retardex, which again is a terrible name. What we've done is come in, professionalise the marketing. They had to Photoshop my picture a bit there, but we've made it a lot better, and it's a bit more professional. So it's an aspirational brand. You know, you want your breath to smell fresh. You want to have confidence when you meet people, and that's what we've done with it. We've started to morph the packaging as well. The previous packaging, very complicated, too many things on there. What does that circle mean? What's the tick? It's a little bit more difficult for you to see on the screen, but when you get the presentation, you'll see we've put a 12-hour stamp right in the middle. It's a 12-hour claim. This will keep your breath fresh for 12 hours. And we've now launched a sensitive range on the right as well, if you have sensitivity. And it's a big issue with the older population because your enamel wears, become sensitive. You can't replace your enamel, but what you can do is plug the holes, and that's what our product does there. And then finally, manufacturing. When we acquired the business, external contract manufacturing, terrible, poor service levels. We have a measure in manufacturing called OTIF, which stands for on time and in full. So if you order 100 boxes to be delivered on the 1st of January, if 100 turn up on the 1st of January, that's 100%. You think it's that simple. This company that they were using before had a less than 50% OTIF. So 50% of the time it either didn't turn up or it wasn't all there. Our plant in Italy has 99.9% across all the customers because quality is really important. So no investment from the previous manufacturer. Out of stock situations, we nearly ran out with boots when we first bought the product, but we covered it. High working capital. Because the manufacturer was so unreliable, the previous owners had to keep huge levels of inventory to make sure they didn't run out of stock. So we've now brought it in-house. We make it ourselves. We're developing new products. You'll see new products this year. We can grow that platform. We've internalised the profit margin, so we make that ourselves as well. We don't give it away. And the working capital's shrunk because it's raw materials and packaging now. It's not finished goods. And we manufacture the just-in-time. So that's us. Group revenue's up in the first half of the year. Continued growth in the second half. Great acquisition that's really had a big impact for us. Good operating leverage from here on in. Every growth pound that we get will drop through a portion of that to the bottom line. Many partners, many of our products are only starting in a few territories. And we've demonstrated for the third time our ability to buy a business and integrate it into ours, and we're very much focused on doing more of that. So thank you for your time, and I'm very happy to answer any questions.
Jerry, that's really interesting. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions, please? Gentleman here to start with, please. Chris?
Could you give some idea of the total value of sales in China in the last 12 months or previous financial year, and predominantly which products you're selling there, other than the skincare product?
That's the only product we sell in China. It's
Right.
the skincare product.
Okay.
And that, I think, we had in 2016 we only had £300,000 of sales because we'd shipped product in the previous year. So it was all shipped in end of 2015, early 2016, launched in the summer of 2016. So 12 months, just more than 12 months ago. This year, obviously, I can't say for the year, but we have had hundreds of thousands of revenue in the first half of the year relating to that Chinese business. But it is only the skincare. We have deals with a Chinese company on Ultradex, I think on one other product, but they're going through registration, so they're not generating revenue yet.
Okay. Gentleman here, please. Yep.
Do you do anything for natural hair restoration?
We do. The big question you've got to ask yourself was how long ago did it start falling out? You'll have seen here, it's gone now. We have a product called, no worries, called Bioscaling, which is for hair loss. So when your follicles go through 3 phases, they're either growing like a good one, or they go into a resting phase, a stasis phase, which lasts for about 5 years, and then that follicle dies. So if you're in that 5-year period, you've got a chance. If you're not, you've had it.
That told me.
It's the Wayne Rooney Street if you're after that. But what you can do is hair loss, male pattern hair loss is all to do with testosterone. So it is a consolation that the balder people have more testosterone. It's just a fact. But you can get the follicle back into growth phase if you catch it soon enough. If you go more than 5 years, it's a hair transplant, I'm afraid.
I've got a number of questions.
Yeah, go ahead, sure.
Okay. The first one is sort of, it's probably the wrong phraseology, but on IP and patent, are you just a manufacturer or do you own some IP or patent?
We own a lot of IP.
The second one is over the advertising.
Yes.
Is there a risk that, obviously television advertising is very expensive, so are you going to get caught in a trap where if sales do fall, you've got to spend more on advertising to generate more sales?
Not at all.
Then the third one was China.
Yes.
What's to stop the Chinese just copying your product and you can't actually get in there to do anything about it?
Sure. So if I do those in the same order, IP, with every product we develop, our intention is to have 5 levels of IP over that product. Patent is the one everybody looks at. Then you have clinical data, you have formulation, you have trademark, and you have, I suppose, what I would call manufacturing know-how. How do you actually make the product? Because you might have the formulation, but it's not straightforward to make it. So what we do with new products, MycoClear is a great example. We've got a patent application over that. We've got clinical data that's being performed. We've got proprietary formulation knowledge, proprietary manufacturing knowledge, and a trademark. So not every product we have has all 5, because some of them were acquired products. But in new products, we put all of that in place across all the major territories, Europe, US, and some of the other territories. Your third question was China, wasn't it? Why didn't they copy it? We've got a 30-year exclusive arrangement with the Chinese company for the brand, which is called Labati. And under that agreement, any product that's sold under the Labati brand has to be made by us. And the reason that's important to them as much as us is they want European brands made in Europe. The Chinese consumer who buy the higher-end cosmetics, they want to turn the box over and see made in Italy on it, or made in France, or made in, probably not Germany, but... so that's really important for them. So they can go into any of these stores, and this store even sells Revlon, L'Oreal, Clinique, but they're all made in China, and that's not what they want. So this company's signed in 3 external brands, one from South Korea, one from Switzerland, and ours from Italy, because that's what the consumer wants. So if the product isn't made in Italy, stamped through customs with a custom stamp of Italy on it, the consumers don't want to pay the price that they're paying for it in China. And there was a middle question, what was that? I need to take one euro.
It's TV.
TV, yeah. The advertising campaign that we did, we had 292 slots on TV across 2 periods, one in June, one I think was in September. Total cost of the advert and the slots was £45,000. So that's by using a business called TriStar. So we avoid ITV and we avoid Channel 4 because they're really expensive, but we use all those other channels, the Sky Atlantics, and they're always targeted at programmes where we think our target audience is, and it's targeted in between. It's things like, I don't know, I don't watch it, but the typical sort of 1-hour drama programme. My wife watches that. I can't stand it. But yeah, it's exactly that. It's that sort of program for the demographic of the 45, 50 plus watcher. I think that was your questions, wasn't it? Thank you.
Gentleman at the front here, please.
I can see how you've revitalised Ultradex. Could you tell me technically how that's differentiated from whatever the others were? Listerine?
CB12, the competitor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What makes yours perform better?
Sure.
The science level.
So CB12 is what I would describe as an astringent product. So when you put it in your mouth, it's got a sort of bang, and Listerine in the general mouthwashes market that same thing. You put it in the mouth, it's a big explosion. Problem is with that, it contains chlorhexidine, contains alcohol. Both of those are bad for the mouth. They're antibacterials, but they kill a lot of the good bacteria in your mouth as well. If you've got bad gum bleeding, the dentist will give you chlorhexidine as a product, Corsadil, which is a well-known product, because you must kill the bad bacteria. And it's not great on your mouth because it stains your teeth and you get furry tongue, but it deals with the acute issue. So CB12 has that and alcohol. And alcohol is terrible in the mouth. If you're drinking, it should go straight down your throat, miss the esophagus and land in your stomach because it does damage all the way through. It denatures the proteins in the mouth and vastly increases your risk of illness and oral cancer. Not CB12, but alcohol in general. So that's the sort of product it is. It's priced at 4 times the price of our products.
What is the technique? What is the active ingredient?
Yeah. So in our product, the active ingredient is stabilised chlorine dioxide. Simply, it's bleach. It's stabilised. And it kills what's called the volatile sulfur compounds. So when you eat food, the bacteria, both in your mouth, your gullet, on the way down to the stomach, they digest the food and they excrete volatile sulfur compounds. That's what smells. Okay. What our product does is it destroys them directly. It doesn't affect any other of those bad bacteria, of those good bacteria in the mouth. It just deals with those. It's a 12-hour claim, 9 clinical studies proving that. So there are some samples. You're all welcome to take samples out there. Try Ultradex, buy CB12 and try that. If you think CB12 is better, I'll give you your money back. If you don't think it is, buy Ultradex, because it's a much gentler product and it's recommended by dentists. A dentist will tell you to take CB12 if he doesn't know of an alternative, and that's part of our job, is to make sure dentists know the alternative.
Gentleman here, thank you.
Could you just tell me, is there much of a difference between male-female consumption of Ultradex?
Well, there's two questions there. There's purchase and consumption. Okay, so from the purchase point of view, it's the females who are purchasing this product. Boots publish a lot of data on all the products that are sold through there, and we get that data. So the largest or the most common buyer of Ultradex is the 45 to 50-year-old lady. And that's generally because oral hygiene becomes more of a concern as you get older, but also she tends to do the shopping for the household, she tends to buy the medication. Same with Benecol, husbands never buy Benecol, but it's the wives worrying about the husbands that buy the Benecol. So that's the purchase side. It's definitely more the women who purchase than the men. In terms of use, every data that we have shows an equal level of use between women and men.
Thanks a lot.
Sure, you're welcome.
On Ultradex, on price sensitivity, you mentioned the competitor's 4 times more expensive.
Yeah.
Could you, do you feel you're obviously you feel that you're priced correctly, but do you think there's maybe room to go up a bit there?
There is, yeah. So CB12 sells for $14.99 in a 250 ml bottle. Okay. Our product, half a litre, sells for £8.20, so it's roughly half the price. If you go into Boots tomorrow, you'll find that CB12 product being sold on half price because the $14.99 is causing them real issues and sales are dropping. You saw in the earlier slide I showed you. So even discounted 50%, it's still double our price. So we think there's a price sensitivity around Ultradex. We think we can get it at £10 for half a litre and still have no issue with that. That's pure extra margin on the bottom line. Won't do it straight away, but we'll do it over time.
Any other questions? Jonathan, please. Hey, Chris.
I was just wondering roughly which percentage of your sales are coming from which products, and also I wanted to ask you what your internet marketing is like, and compared to something like Innovaderma, which is very good at it.
Sure.
And then just quickly, one-word question, which is Brexit ?
3-word answer, not a problem. So going in reverse order, so Brexit, it's not an issue for us. We manufacture our products in Italy. They're all shipped from Italy. The only impact of Brexit that could give us a negative impact is if there's duties on inbound product into the UK, because we'd have to pay additional duty. But because we make the products, we've got lots of scope in there to deal with the duty. I must take €1, didn't I? You had 2 other questions, didn't you?
Online marketing.
Online marketing. We allow all our partners to do online marketing, so we don't do any of that ourselves because we'll be competing with them. It's a global market. So Boots have an online shop. You can buy through your ad card with Boots. We sell through Amazon, we sell through Ocado. And internationally, all of our partners, they will have the products on their own website and do their own marketing because they're responsible for that. So in the UK with Ultradex, we'll support and we do social media to help support the product. But each of the partners has their own website and they sell the products through those sites. And then you had one more question.
Yeah, that was about the rough percentages of...
This is our biggest product. So this year, out of 16.5 million in revenue, this will be 3.5 million. Our next product down from that, which is a mouth ulcer product, we don't have the brand, it's sold through Alliance, is probably 1.5 million. And then there's a couple at 1 million, and then it goes down below that. So relatively diverse, but that is by far and away our biggest product.
That's great. Jerry, thank you very much indeed. We're out of time there.